Why does he regret losing the woman he stopped expecting? There is a specific moment in a man's life when the sting of loss turns into deep regret. It's not when she leaves crying. It's not when she screams or makes scandals. True repentance comes when he realizes that she's just stopped waiting, when her silence becomes more eloquent than 1,000 words, when the eyes that shone for him now look ahead, to a horizon where he no longer exists. Why do so many men only wake up when it's too late? Why is her value only clear when she has already rebuilt her life without him? The answer to these questions can be uncomfortable, but it is necessary. In this video, we will dive deep into the psychological and emotional reasons that lead a man to the most bitter regret. Losing a woman who is tired of waiting for crumbs of attention, for empty promises, for a love that was never completed. Write in the comments now the word desperate so that you can better absorb each insight I will share here. This word will activate your awareness throughout the video. Introduction. Why does he regret losing the woman he stopped expecting? There is a specific moment in a man's life when the sting of loss turns into deep regret. It's not when she leaves crying. It's not when she screams or makes scandals. True repentance comes when he realizes that she's just stopped waiting, when her silence becomes more eloquent than 1,000 words, when the eyes that shone for him now look ahead, to a horizon where he no longer exists. Why do so many men only wake up when it's too late? Why is her value only clear when she has already rebuilt her life without him? The answer to these questions can be uncomfortable, but it is necessary. In this video, we will dive deep into the psychological and emotional reasons that lead a man to the most bitter regret. Losing a woman who is tired of waiting for crumbs of attention, for empty promises, for a love that was never completed. Write in the comments now the word desperate so that you can better absorb each insight I will share here. This word will activate your awareness throughout the video. 1. The late awakening. The penny always drops at the wrong time. When everything has been said, when the tears have dried, when fatigue has overcome hope. He wakes up on an ordinary morning and feels a strange emptiness in his chest. She picks up her cell phone and realizes that there are no more messages from her asking how the day went. There is no longer that charge that irritated him. There is nothing else. And it is precisely this nothingness that hurts in a way that he did not expect. Her absence screams louder than any argument they had. It is at this moment that the understanding begins that something precious slipped through his fingers, while he was distracted by other things, by work, by friends, by the routine that seemed more important than paying attention to those he really loved. The problem is that this understanding comes when she is no longer emotionally available. He may even try to call, text, show up at her door, but he will find a different woman. She is no longer the one who begged for a little time, who asked to be a priority, who dreamed of plans together. Now he is someone who looks at him with a cold politeness, a respectful but definitive detachment. She built walls where there were once bridges, and these walls were erected brick by brick each time he chose something else in her place. The truth hurts because it is simple. While she waited, he had power. I was sure that she would be there, always available, always understanding, always willing to give her one more chance. This security made him comfortable. He postponed the changes, the attitudes, the gestures of affection that she asked for. He believed that there would be time, that she would be patient forever, that her love was infinite and unbreakable. But all patience has a limit. All love that is not reciprocated with the same intensity withers, loses color, turns into resignation until it finally turns into detachment. When he finally wakes up, he is already a different man from the one he had the chance to do differently. Now he sees clearly everything he should have done. Every dinner he canceled, every conversation he ignored, every plan he postponed. The list of regrets is huge in his head. And the most painful thing is to know that she gave him all the clues, all the warnings, all the opportunities for him to change before it was too late. But he didn't listen. Or he listened and didn't give it importance. He thought it was drama, exaggeration, a thing of the moment. He underestimated her pain and overestimated the resilience of the relationship. The illusion of control. There is a dangerous trap that many men fall into without realizing it. It's the feeling that they have everything under control. Who can measure how much they give, how much they dedicate themselves, how much they show love? They believe that the relationship will continue the way it is, regardless of the effort they put into it. It's as if there were a pause button, where he can leave the relationship in the background while he takes care of other areas of life, and when he wants, just go back and press play again. But life doesn't work like that. Relationships don't stay frozen waiting for goodwill. They either grow or wither. There is no middle ground. This false sense of security comes from a complicated place. He often interprets her kindness as weakness. He sees patience as a guarantee. It confuses love with submission. He thinks that because he stays, because he forgives, because he tries again, then he can continue doing things the same way. He doesn't realize that each forgiveness costs a piece of her soul, that every time she swallows her sorrow and smiles, she is actually keeping a sadness that accumulates. And when the glass overflows, there is no turning back. The spilled water does not return inside. The man who lives in this illusion feels too comfortable. He knows that he may be late, that he may forget important dates, that he may have his head away during conversations, and yet she will be there. He will make food. He will take care of the house. He will organize the lives of the two while he only appears to reap the benefits. This comfort is insidious because it creates a bubble of false stability. Inside this bubble, he thinks everything is fine, that the problems she mentions are small, which can be solved later, which is not that serious. But while he relaxes into that comfort zone, she's depleting her last reserves of hope. He is fighting an internal battle between the love he feels and the self-respect he is losing. With each passing day, the balance tilts more towards self-love. Until one day, the decision is made. And when that happens, there is no crying. There is no promise. There is no vow of change that makes a difference. Because she has given that credit before. She has believed his words other times, and the attitudes did not come. Regret hits hard when he realizes that he never really had control, that what he thought was power was actually her generosity in staying. It was her choice to invest, to try, to believe. And on the day she chose differently, the whole house of cards collapsed. He discovers that he was building in quicksand, that the base was fragile because it depended only on its strength, never on joint effort. And now he needs to face the naked truth. He didn't lose control because he never really did. When you stop waiting, you reclaim your power. If you're ready to understand the deeper psychology behind this turning point, watch the free guide inside the Jung Method, link pinned in the first comment. 3. When silence speaks. There is a kind of silence that is louder than any scream. It is the silence of those who have given up on being heard. When she stops complaining, demanding, asking, trying to talk about what's wrong, many men breathe a sigh of relief. They think that the storm has passed, that things are back to normal, but the truth is quite the opposite. Her silence is not peace. It is calm before the definitive departure. It is the moment when she has already made her decision internally and is just joining forces to execute it. During this period, she may even be physically present, but emotionally she has already packed her bags. This silence carries an immense weight. It is different from the comfortable silence of those who are at peace. It is a heavy silence, loaded with unspoken words, swallowed sorrows, abandoned dreams. She no longer speaks because she is tired of not being heard. He tried in every possible way. He used sweet words. He used harsh words. He cried. He explained. He begged. He suggested. And nothing has changed. So she understood that the problem was not the way she communicated. The problem was that he just didn't want to listen. I was not willing to change. And that conclusion hurts, but it also liberates. By the time he finally realizes the meaning of this silence, it is too late. He tries to strike up a conversation and finds short, polite, but empty answers. He tries to provoke some reaction and receives only indifference. This indifference corrodes inside because he feels in his skin what she has felt for so long. The feeling of talking to a wall, of screaming in the void, of not mattering enough to deserve real attention. Now the roles have been reversed. and he discovers how painful it is to love someone who is no longer really there. The most ironic thing is that when she spoke, when she charged, when she cried, they were all signs that there was still love. There was still hope. There was still a desire to fix it. No one fights over something that doesn't matter. No one cries for someone who has already forgotten. But he got it all wrong. He saw the complaints as a bummer. He saw the charges as unnecessary pressure. He saw the tears as an exaggeration. He did not understand that each of these demonstrations was actually a cry for help. A see me, listen to me, value me before it's too late. But he ignored all warnings until the moment they simply ceased. Now he would give anything to hear a complaint from her, to have a real discussion, to see her cry because of him, because that would mean there's still feeling. But what he finds is a neutral look, a distant education, a heart that has built gates that no longer open. And that silence echoes in his soul as a constant reminder of everything he missed by not paying attention when she was still speaking. 4. The mirror of absence. We only realize the value of light when we are in the dark. We only miss air when it is lacking. And we only understand the size of someone's presence when it turns into absence. For him, her departure works as a cruel mirror that reflects everything he stopped being, everything he promised and didn't fulfill, everything he had and wasted. Every corner of the house screams her name. Each routine that once seemed automatic now reveals how much she did to keep everything running. The food that was always ready, the clothes that were always clean, the atmosphere was always welcoming, the details he never noticed because he thought they happened alone. But it is not only the practical side that is needed. It's the way she looked at him, that look that believed in the best of him, even when he wasn't delivering. It's the way she cheered for each of his achievements, vibrated with each small victory, was there on the bad days offering support and understanding. It was having someone who knew his quirks, his tastes, his fears, and yet chose to stay. He chose to love despite his flaws. I chose to build together even when he seemed most interested in destroying. Her absence teaches lessons that presence could not. He learns how to do laundry and realizes how many times she has done it in silence. He tries to cook and understands the work that went into each meal. He is alone at night and feels the weight of loneliness she felt when he was physically there but emotionally far away. It is a painful school, where each lesson is accompanied by longing and remorse, where each learning has the taste of, why didn't I value this before? Life becomes a succession of moments where he finds himself thinking, she did this for me, and she was right when she said that. There is something cruel in this process. It's as if he needs to lose to learn, as if pain was the only teacher capable of really teaching the value of what he had. And this generates enormous frustration, because he knows that the lesson came too late, that it's no use now to be the man she's always asked him to be. There is no point now in making the changes she has begged for years, because she's not waiting anymore. She has already closed that chapter. He has already moved on. She is already learning to be happy on her own, or maybe even finding someone who values her from the beginning. The mirror of absence does not only reflect what he has lost, it reflects who he has become. A man who had gold in his hands and treated it like stone. That he had true love and wasted it because he thought he would always have. That sacrificed something real for empty priorities. And this reflected image hurts because there is no way to escape it. There is no way to hide it. There is no way to blame anyone but yourself. And carrying that weight is part of regret. It is the price one pays for waking up too late. 5. Memories that burn. Memory has a cruel way of working when we lose someone important. The memories that were once just part of the story now come back with an intensity that hurts. He remembers the first date, the first kiss, the twinkle in her eye when he talked about their plans together. He remembers how she laughed at any nonsense he said, of how she held his hand as they walked, of how she woke up early just to make coffee the way he liked it. Each memory is a sharp knife cutting from the inside because it comes with the awareness that he threw it all away. The worst thing is not the great memories. It's the small details. The smell of her perfume that she sometimes feels passing through the street and makes her heart tighten. The song that played when they were together and now seems to have been written about what he lost. The restaurant where they always went, and that now he can no longer pass in front of. the side of the bed that was left empty and that no other person can fill. It is these little things that invade the day without warning and turn ordinary moments into episodes of acute pain. He tries to move on, but the memories won't let him. They arrive at the most unexpected moments. When you're in traffic, when you're working, when you're trying to sleep. They come as waves that knock down any attempt to forget. And the most painful thing is that along with every good memory also comes the memory of how he ruined it, of how he stopped doing what he did in the beginning, of how he was relaxing, accommodating, taking for granted something that needed constant care. Good memories hurt because they show that he was capable of being better. Who was once that man she deserved? But he chose to stop being. There are nights when he can't sleep because his head turns into a movie theater showing all the mistakes. Every time he arrived late without warning. Every time she made plans and he canceled at the last minute. Every time she tried to talk and he was looking at his cell phone. All the special dates that he forgot or treated as an ordinary day. Each memory is concrete proof that he had chances to do it differently and didn't. And this burns inside with an intensity that does not pass with time. On the contrary, it only seems to increase as the days go by and she doesn't come back. The most ironic thing is that while she was there, he complained about certain things. I thought she was too clingy, that she demanded too much, that she wanted too much attention. Now he would give anything to get back exactly what bothered him, because he understood that it was love. He was someone who cared enough to want to be close, to demand the best from him, not to give up easily. And he wasted it treating it as weight when it was actually present. The memories burn precisely because they show with absolute clarity the size of the stupid thing he did. 6. The other version of it. One of the hardest shocks for him is finding out that she has moved on. Not only did it follow, but it flourished. She is prettier, more confident, lighter. When he sees her from afar or on social media, he barely recognizes her. She is no longer that tired, sad woman who begged for attention. He is someone who radiates peace, who smiles in a true way. That talks about new projects, new dreams, new life. And this rebirth of hers hurts him in an unexpected way, because it shows that the problem was not her. It never was. The problem was the relationship that was sucking her energy, and he was an essential part of this problem. Seeing her well without him breaks the illusion that many men feed, the illusion that she couldn't live without him, that he would suffer forever, that her life would stop when he left her. But reality shows the opposite. Her life not only continued but improved. She discovered that she can be happy on her own, that doesn't need crumbs of love, that someone deserves to choose it every day, not just when it's convenient. And this discovery freed her from a prison she didn't even know she was in. The prison of thinking that it needed it to be complete. This new version of her scares him because he realizes that he has lost not only the woman he knew, but also the chance to meet this new woman. He missed the opportunity to be by her side in this phase of flourishing, to see her grow, discover herself, become even more incredible, because she would have become that version with him or without him. The difference is that without him, she had room to breathe. He was free to prioritize himself. She had the energy to invest in herself instead of spending it all trying to save something that only she was rowing. He feels a strange mixture of pride and pain. Pride because somehow it still matters, and seeing it well brings genuine joy. But pain because he knows he is no longer part of this story. That she built this new version on top of the rubble of what they had. That every step she took forward was also a step away from him. And you can't help but wonder what it would be like if it had been different. If he had valued it from the beginning. If it had been the partner she deserved. Maybe she was that same amazing woman, but with him by his side sharing the achievements. What hurts the most is realizing that there is someone now who will reap what he has sown wrong. Someone who will find this woman already mature. Already knowing what she wants, already cured, already strong. Someone who will have the improved version of her without having gone through the difficult phases. And that someone will thank you every day for having found a woman like that, while he will forever carry the awareness that he had it first and did not know how to take care of it. That he had a diamond in the rough and let it slip through his hands. 7. The price of indifference. Indifference kills more than any fight. It is possible to survive arguments, disagreements, even betrayals, depending on the circumstances. But it is impossible to survive indifference. When he treated her as invisible, when he ignored her emotional needs, when he acted as if her presence was irrelevant, he was slowly digging the grave of the relationship. Each gesture of disinterest was a shovel of dirt thrown on top of the love she felt. And now he pays the highest possible price, her indifference back, but amplified, definitive, with no chance of reversal. Man often does not mean it badly. He simply thinks that love is being together, sharing the same house, the same bed. He does not understand that love is attention. It is real presence, not just physical. It's looking into the eyes. It's asking how the day went and really wanting to know the answer. It's remembering small details because the person matters. It is to make her feel seen, heard, valued. Without this, the relationship becomes just a convenience. Two strangers sharing the same space but living separate lives. And no woman can live like this forever. When he wakes up to the damage that indifference has caused, he tries to compensate. Try to be attentive, affectionate, present. But she doesn't want it anymore, because it recognizes the pattern. He knows that this is temporary, that he is making an effort because he lost, not because he really changed. And she doesn't want someone she needs to lose in order to value. He wants someone who values naturally, consistently, without needing the scare of loss as a motivator. She deserves to be a priority always, not just when she is leaving. The price he pays is too high. It is living knowing that you had everything you wanted at your fingertips and let it die due to negligence. It's carrying the guilt of having hurt someone who just wanted to be loved. It is to understand that he was too selfish, too distracted, too accommodating. And this understanding does not bring relief. It only brings more pain because along comes the awareness that there is no longer any way to fix it. His indifference destroyed what was most precious. And the consequence is to live with this emptiness, with this absence, with this regret that has no expiration date. It is a price he will pay for the rest of his life. 8. Fresh start with no return. There is a point of no return in any love story. It is the moment when no matter how much he wants to, no matter how much he regrets it, no matter how much he promises changes, it will not come back. Not because she's proud, not because he wants revenge, but because it genuinely started again. It really closed that cycle. He made peace with the pain. He understood the lessons, and it moved on to a new chapter where he no longer has a starring role. Maybe she's a distant extra in her memories. Maybe not even that. And accepting this reality is one of the hardest things he will have to do. She didn't make that decision overnight. It was a long and painful process. He had to deconstruct the idealized image he had of him. She had to accept that the man she loved doesn't exist in the way she imagined. He had to say goodbye to the dreams they built together. She had to learn to live alone, to be enough, not to need external validation to feel complete. And each step of this process was a step that she climbed away from him. When he finally reached the top, he looked back and saw that the distance was too great, and he decided never to go down. Her new beginning is liberating for her and torturous for him, because it shows that it is possible to turn the page, that the love that seemed eternal had an expiration date, that the promises of forever lasted only as long as she had the strength to sustain herself. And now she uses that same strength to build something new, something where it is a priority, where you don't have to beg for attention, where you don't have to settle for less than you deserve. This new beginning is a rebirth that does not include it. And as much as it hurts, he needs to respect it. There are men who don't accept it, who insists, who persecutes, who tries in every way to bring her back. But this only shows that he has not yet learned. He still wants what he wants, when he wants, the way he wants. He still doesn't understand that love is not possession, that respecting her new beginning is the only way to really love her at this moment. Let her go. Cheer for her happiness, even if it's far from him. Carry regret with dignity instead of turning it into drama that only hurts more. This is maturation. This is a consequence. That's paying for what you've done without trying to escape the debt. The hardest lesson is that not every mistake can be fixed. Not all regret brings second chances. Sometimes life teaches through definitive loss. And the only way is to accept, learn, and do differently with whoever comes after. Honor her memory by being a better man for the next one. Do not repeat the same mistakes. Value from day one. Do not take anyone's love for granted, because now he knows that every presence is a gift that can be withdrawn at any time. That all love needs to be cultivated, watered, cared for, and that when the plant dies due to lack of water, there is no point in filling the pot later. Her new beginning without him is living proof that some things, once lost, do not come back, and learning to live with it is the hardest part of repentance.